If you are a piano teacher who has ever thought about including some accompanying or collaborative skills, or even more duet playing into the lessons that you teach, your next thought probably went something like this. I don't have time for that. I'm already trying to fit in improvisation and theory and sight reading and all these other things. I cannot possibly add another thing to the lesson. And then maybe your next thought was, besides, I wouldn't even know what to add. What if I told you that you can include collaborative skills into the lessons you already teach without adding any more time, preparation, any more people, or any more stress to your already full mental load? That is exactly what I'm going to show you today. I'm Rachel Ehring. I'm a pianist, a piano teacher, and I'm passionate about helping piano teachers like you bring more collaborative music making into their studios without overhauling everything you're already doing. Before we get into the practical strategies, I want to talk just briefly about why this actually matters. Because once you understand what is at stake for your students, I think you'll feel even more motivated to start weaving this in. So let's talk about what collaborative and accompanying skills actually do for your students, because it's more than you might think. First of all, rhythm improves immediately. There's no better cure for rushing or dragging than having a partner who depends on you to hold the pulse. When your student has to lock in with someone else, whether that's you playing the secondo part or a recording, or eventually a singer or another instrumentalist, their internal metronome develops in a way that solitary practice simply cannot replicate. Think about your students who rush through every fast passage no matter how many times you remind them. Now imagine them having to play that same section with a partner or you who will not speed up for them. It changes everything. The second skill that will grow is their sight reading. Collaborative playing demands that students keep going. There's no stopping to fix wrong notes, no replaying a tricky passage. That necessity builds confident, forward-moving reading, which is essential for any musician who wants to play with others. And here's what I love about this one. When you build sight reading in a collaborative context, students aren't just reading the notes, they're learning to read the music. They're listening at the same time, and that's a completely different skill than just reading little circles on the page. The third benefit is that their musicality deepens. When students play with a partner, they're forced to listen beyond just their own part. They start to think about these questions. Who has the melody? Is my part too loud? My partner took time in that phrase. I think I should do that too. That kind of awareness flows directly back into their solo playing. Pieces that used to feel mechanical start to sing more. Phrasing becomes more natural, and performances become more communicative. Teaching collaboration is, in the deepest sense, teaching musicianship. Now, the fourth benefit of this is that performance confidence grows. Collaborative performance can be less intimidating than solo performing. There's someone else on stage with you, which can feel comfy. Students who grow comfortable performing duets frequently find that their solo nerves decrease as well. More performing experience means less performance anxiety. That shared presence is genuinely reassuring, especially for students who tend to have some of this anxiety on stage. And the fifth benefit, and my personal favorite, is collaborative playing brings joy and connection. Piano, as we know, can be a solitary pursuit. We spend so much time alone in the practice room. Giving students the experience of making music together adds a social dimension that keeps them engaged, motivated, and coming back for more. Hermann Hesse wrote that making music together is the best way for two people to become friends, and I believe that. I've seen it in my own life over and over again. Now, before I give you the practical strategies, I want to offer you a reframe that I think will change how you see this. Collaborative skills and solo skills are not two separate things that have to be taught separately. The vast majority of what makes a great collaborator, listening, rhythmic steadiness, performance confidence, flexibility, those are the things that also make a great solo pianist. When we teach these skills together from the beginning, Students don't experience accompanying as something extra. It becomes simply part of what it means to be a musician. And here's the thing, you're probably already doing a lot of this. You just haven't been thinking of it as a collaborative thing. And that's what I want to change today, because some of what I'm about to show you, you're already doing in lessons, and now you'll understand exactly what it's building, and it's more than you thought. All right, here are the 6 things you can do in your one-on-one lessons right now, things that will prepare your students for accompanying and collaborative opportunities whenever they come along. You don't need extra time, extra repertoire, or a second student in the room. You just need to be intentional about what you're already doing. So strategy 1 is the most basic. Play the duet parts from the method books. It's so straightforward, but it's one that I personally, as a teacher, sometimes skip, and that is playing those duet pages in the simplest method books. Most method books build in the little teacher duet parts at every level. Those pages are ready-made opportunities. Don't be afraid of them. When you sit beside your student and play the teacher part, even in the simplest 5-finger duets, they are learning to lock into a pulse, to listen beyond their own hands, and to feel what it means to share the bench and the music with someone else. You can actually do this at the very first lesson before a student can even read a single note. Let a beginner at their first lesson improvise freely on the black keys while you play a simple accompaniment underneath. They immediately feel the satisfaction of making real music, and they begin, without even knowing it, to understand what it means to play alongside another musician. That awareness is the seed of everything that follows. And here's a pro tip for you when you do those little duets. Always start the same way. So count off, breathe together, and then begin. Once this routine feels natural, try just breathing together without counting. Inhale together and see what happens. Make it a ritual from the very first duet so it becomes second nature before a real performance situation. Strategy 2 is to use singing. Have your students sing a melody while you play, or play while you sing. This is collaborative playing in its most basic and powerful form. The student has to react to you in real time. They have to listen, adjust, stay connected, and it's deeply personal. Singing requires our bodies in a way that just playing doesn't always. You can also flip it. You sing while they play. Especially for students who are working on something they've already learned, having them accompany you while you sing the melody gives them a completely different perspective on the piece. They have to support you. They have to listen to where you breathe, where you take time, and that is accompanying instinct being built in real time. And don't worry about the singing. It doesn't have to be perfect, yours or theirs. This isn't a voice lesson. It's just a listening exercise. And the voice is the most direct path to engaged, embodied musical awareness. We should all be singing as pianists. That's my hot take for the day. All right, strategy 3, and you might already be doing this, is to get them off the bench and get them moving. Ask your students to march in place, to sway, tap a knee, clap the beat while you play. For younger students especially, this builds a physical awareness of pacing and pulse that transfers directly to ensemble work. When a student's body knows the beat they're playing will change, we've got to get them feeling that internal pulse right off the bat. They won't rush as easily, they'll feel the phrase shape more naturally, and they have a reference point that's outside of just their fingers trying to find the right notes. It's really teaching flexibility. A great collaborator knows how to feel the pulse even when it shifts slightly, and that's why doing this with a partner is important. Even when a partner breathes through a phrase or takes a little extra time at a cadence, their physical awareness will hone in on that. All right, strategy 4 is similar, and it is to bring in the rhythm instruments. This is especially fun for beginners and younger students. My students love when I get out the drum, the little hand drum or the rhythm sticks. Have them do those instruments while you play or even while they listen to a recording. And this does two things. First, it separates the listening from the playing, which makes both clearer. They're not trying to listen while also managing their fingers and reading the notes. They're purely listening to the rhythm and responding. Second, it builds interactive awareness, that kind of call and response instinct that is foundational to all ensemble playing. Speaking of call and response, you can also use echo patterns and clapping games. These are fun for students of all ages, and they build exactly the kind of rhythmic engagement and listening that ensemble playing requires. All right, strategy 5, we're getting there, is to talk about texture, even with beginner students. Start asking questions like, where is the melody right now? Which part is most important in this section? Which hand is more important? Which is least important? What's happening in the bass line? Understanding texture is one of the most transferable skills throughout ensemble playing. Being able to balance the right and left hand, understanding the projection of different registers, and tracking where the melody is at any given moment, these are skills that even advanced pianists often haven't always completely developed in their solo repertoire. So when you name texture in a duet, even a simple 5-finger one, students start hearing music differently. They stop hearing just their part and start hearing the sound as a whole. And that's an enormous shift for most students. You can also name this in their very simple solo repertoire. Many of the most basic method books will have songs where the melody is in the right hand for most of the song, and then suddenly the left hand takes over and plays a couple of notes of the melody. Just point that out in the music. All right, strategy 6, the last one, is building sight reading into their routine with collaboration in the back of your mind. Including a short sight reading activity with your student that is slightly below their current level will start to give them confidence in their sight reading. And here's the key: encourage them to keep going. This is not the time to stop and practice and fix things. No stopping, no going back. This is the time to build the forward moving reading and the keep the show going instinct that collaborative playing demands. One of the best ways to teach this is by sight reading simple duets with your students. You could even use this as a reward at the end of their lesson. They won't be able to stop because you're going to keep going as you sight read a duet together. So let's bring this all together. 6 strategies. None of them require a second student. None of them require extra planning time or special materials. All of them fit inside the lessons that you're already teaching. Play the duets in your method books. Don't skip them. Use singing to build real-time listening. Get students' bodies involved to deepen their pulse awareness. Bring in rhythm instruments for interactive play. Talk about texture regularly out loud so students start hearing the complete sound. And then make sight reading a collaborative, keep going exercise. Each of these on its own is a small little thing, but together they build a student who listens actively, holds a steady pulse, understands musical texture, and knows how to stay present when things get hard. In other words, a student who is ready to collaborate. And here's what I find so beautiful about this. Not one of these skills stays at the accompanist's bench. Every single thing your student learns through collaborative playing flows directly back into their solo repertoire. Melody lines start to come out and phrasing becomes more natural. Performances become more comfortable and communicative. Teaching collaboration is about teaching musicianship, and you can absolutely start this today. If today's video gave you even one new idea for your studio, I want to invite you to go deeper. I've put together a complete piano teacher's guide to collaboration. It's a free resource that covers everything we talked about today and more. You'll find a deeper look at what great collaborative playing actually sounds like, more practical strategies for your lessons, and ideas for bringing collaborative experiences into your studio community beyond the one-on-one lesson. I've also included a bonus repertoire list in the guide, 10 hand-picked duets at every level from beginner to advanced that I would confidently put in front of any student, so you don't have to go searching for duets. The link to download the guide is in the description below. It's completely free, and it's the best next step I know for teachers who want to bring more of this into their work. If this video is helpful, please consider subscribing to the channel. It genuinely helps other teachers find this content. And if you have questions or want to share what's already working in your studio, I would love to hear from you in the comments. I read every single one. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next video.